Which is the best drug for weight loss? This is one of those age-old questions where people are always going to make comparisons and try to figure out which one is the better option when they have multiple choices to solve the same problem. Similarly, people will ask, is pizza better with or without pineapple, or are things like chocolate better than ice cream? And while the answers are pretty straightforward for those guys, clearly it's no pineapples and chocolate ice cream are the only correct answers, when it comes to choosing the best drug for weight loss, it's not so simple. Now, we first can look at the actual literature and the various papers that have been published with a number of these different medications and try to make comparisons and inferences and say this one has X amount of weight loss and this drug had X amount of weight loss. This one was more, therefore this drug is better, and so on and so forth. And in fact, I tried to create a nice little graph for you here and kind of using things like diet and exercise, which is at the top there, and bariatric surgery, which is down at the bottom, as kind of reference points. And then as you can see and go down the list there, you have all of the various weight loss medications that are currently on the market either in Canada or in the US of A. And the percentages, or the length of the bars, if you will, that are showing are the amount of weight that people on average lost with each of these drugs from their baseline. And so, if we look at just the data from the various papers that were published on each of these medications, you can see that Zepbound or mounjaro, or the generic molecule in both of those drugs is called tirzepatide, had the greatest amount of weight loss at nearly 21% loss from baseline. So, based purely on the literature and the research, Zepbound or mounjaro at a dose of 15 milligrams once per week looks like it is the most effective agent currently on the market. Now, just as a quick caveat, many of these drugs haven't been compared head-to-head in various studies, and therefore we're making inferences and comparisons from one study to another, where the design, the population, and that sort of thing could have been different from study to study, and therefore we don't know if these numbers exactly line up in terms of the results that we're kind of seeing here. But at least we can draw some inferences and get a rough idea of kind of what we're talking about. Again, showing that Zepbound or mounjaro seems to be the most effective for average weight loss. And as a quick reminder here, if you are getting some value out of this video, please don't forget to hit that subscribe button down below. And don't forget to like and share it, spread it as far and wide as possible, giving it to all of your friends that you think might benefit from seeing a video like this. And of course, check me out on my other channels at The Official Dr. Dan. Your support is always very much appreciated. Now, while it does seem relatively simple that Zepbound or mounjaro is the best of the best, and that should just be the end of the argument right there, the reality of the matter is we have to take into account the individual that's sitting in front of us. You see, the kicker is that every single one of us is a little bit different. We all have different genetics, we all grew up in a different environment, we all still live in various different environments and have different accesses and learned behaviors and yada, 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 yada. And so, just like there is no best diet, there is going to be no best drug. There is only the best drug for you. And as an example, based on my clinical experience, I've seen some people do amazingly well with Ozempic or wegovy, and I've seen other people who either can't tolerate it or don't get any benefit whatsoever. And on the flip side, I've had some people do amazingly well on a drug like Contrave, even though it shows one of the lesser amounts of weight loss just based on the studies themselves. So the reason why there is no best drug is, again, it comes down to our individual genetics, environment, physiology, biology, and all the various factors that make us our own unique individuals. And so as clinicians, we need to do a full front-to-back assessment and determine what is going to be the best option or treatment for you in order to give you the greatest success. And when we're looking at what our obesity treatment plans involve, in particular what the primary goal is to help you achieve the bestest health possible. And so after our review, after our assessment, we might find that an anti-obesity medication might not be even the way to go for you. It might be starting an antidepressant. It might be getting a proper diagnosis of your underlying ADHD and starting stimulant-based therapy. Or it could even be just providing you some counseling and support for you to work on some other facet or component of your health in your life. And ultimately, that's all that you needed in order to start making the changes in your life to manage your weight. Again, your treatment needs to be individualized to you and you alone. Now, to give you a very brief overview of some of the intricacies or some of the components that might lead us to choosing one drug over another for an individual. In reality, I need to do a series of videos where I go over like each drug and some of those intricacies, so stay tuned for that. But if we're looking at maybe your comorbid condition, so say you have some underlying diabetes or insulin resistance or fatty liver, then going towards a GLP-1 medication like Saxenda, Wegovy, or Zepbound might be the better option there. If there's some comorbid depression or anxiety, perhaps Contrave might be the right option. If you have an aversion to needles and don't want to give yourself an injection, then maybe we need to look at more of the oral formulations. And even some individuals might like the idea of having a daily check-in in order to help them engage or have a reminder to engage in positive health behaviors that day. So having a medication that they take on a daily basis versus a weekly basis might be a better option there. And so that's just some of the potential intricacies and things that we're thinking about when we're looking at the patient that's sitting in front of us and trying to figure out what's going to be the best option for your optimal health and your success moving forward. And this is why it's so important to sit down with your healthcare provider. And if you happen to be in Alberta, you can come and sit down with myself at our pharmacist-led obesity clinic at Apothecare Pharmacy. Links are on my bio of my YouTube page, so be sure to check it out and come and book an appointment with myself. So ultimately, we need to individualize the therapy. We need to figure out what the individual that's sitting in front of us has going on, what are their challenges, what are the things that they're dealing with, and how can we best support them in order to get the best health outcomes. Now, the other thing to kind of note is that while we may do this assessment and pick an option, that option could still not work for you. And therefore, we need to go back to the drawing board and look at what might be the other options or things we could potentially try to help you to be successful. And just because one medication doesn't work doesn't mean another one won't be more effective. And that can include going from, say, Ozempic to mounjaro or mounjaro to Ozempic or what have you. There's all kinds of different tweaks and changes and things that we want to look at between the different medications and options that are available. Either way, continue to follow up with your care team and care provider in order to get the best health outcomes for you and yourself. So that is it, and that is all, you beautiful people. There is no best drug for weight loss. There is only the best drug that's going to work for you. Again, please don't forget to hit that subscribe button down below if you got some value out of this video. And please like and share my video, spread it far and wide to anybody that you think might get some benefit out of it. And of course, providing me that ongoing support, which I so very much appreciate. As well, this is going to be my last video for 2023. I am going to be signing off until the new year. So again, thank you very much for all of the support over this past 12 months. It has definitely been a whirlwind and a lot of fun creating more and more content for you. So thank you everyone who has reached out and subscribed and you name it. And so I want to wish you and your loved ones a wonderful and happy holidays as well as a happy new year. And the final thing that we're doing here for 2023 is I'm doing a live on Wednesday at 7 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. So be sure to come and check that out, where we are reviewing all the ins and the outs of how to manage the family, how to manage the holidays, and what that might look like for your weight management and health goals. Otherwise, I hope everyone stays safe and stays healthy. And of course, please always remember that the small tweaks are going to lead to those massive peaks.